All right, so let's talk about how to win and get what you want from your man. Happy Saturday. Yeah, Linda here. So, hi Wally, hi Toya, hi Chris, hi Kim, hi Mina, hi everybody, hi. So, let's talk about winning when it comes to your man. So, one of the things I've come to realize as I talk about, as I keep creating content around men and relationships. Hey, Carol. Hey, Chris. Hi. Is so many women want to win. So many women want to win. And what does winning mean? If you're in a committed relationship, you want to be able to go and ask your man for, in fact, the most recent client, she's like, she wants to know how to ask her man to do stuff for her. So she wants him to invest in her business. Some women just want attention from their man. Some women want to start having more dates, having more playful time together, but they just don't know how to do it. Okay, so I'll be sharing with you some tips that you can use to start to win in love, because I can promise you love is accessible to everybody. Okay, you deserve to be provided for, you deserve to be looked after, you deserve to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel relaxed in your relationship. And that's the other thing. So many women are not relaxed with their men. Yes, they are married, they have children, but they just don't feel like they can just relax and be around their men. Okay, so the first thing, what do you think about men? What do you truly think about men? Many times, even if we are married, and even more so when we are married, we think we have the right mindset, but once we start staying in the relationship, this is when all the demons start to come up. Demons like maybe you grew up seeing a lot of mistrust. Maybe your mom always complained about your dad to you. So you grew up listening to, oh, your dad, he never does this. I can't trust your dad. You maybe even grew up seeing your mom doing 150% to make sure the relationship works. Maybe you grew up seeing your dad playing the more passive role. Over and above that, you take that background, then you start dating. You date man number one, he breaks up with you. Man number two, man number three. By the time you're getting married, yes, you are in a relationship, but remember, you have this whole past experience that you've actually carried with you into the relationship. Over and above that, you start to hear a lot of stuff. Maybe you go online and you see the only kind of women who can be provided for are 20 years old, are maybe size 10, and maybe they all have to wear Malaysian wigs and weaves. So deep down, you don't really feel like you can be looked after by your man. I've recently just shifted to size 14. Clearly, I have the hair that I have. I'm not 20 years old. I have dimples exactly like you. I've been married for 10 years. But even with all that, if you look at what society paints as a provided for woman versus what I am, what society paints is a feminine woman versus who I am, we are worlds apart. That's why it's really so important to actually just decide that, you know what, I am actually worthy of the kind of life that I want. Yesterday, I just posted about my husband is my number one investor, to be honest. Anything I do, he's my number one cheerleader. He's the first person who upgrades anything in my life. So there's this whole thing where we feel like if you look at yourself in the mirror as a woman, you're like, no, that other babe, she can post, she's gotten a $3,000 phone, but me, no. The way I look, no. I'm too old. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not pretty enough. That's the kind of negative thinking that will stop you from enjoying love with your man, even if you're married. And even more so when you're married. Because if you keep having those fearful thoughts that you're not good enough, you're not worthy of love, what will happen is, one, you probably never even open your mouth to ask for stuff. And even if you're opening your mouth to ask for things, you are already so scared. You're not sure about who you are. You don't even feel you're worthy of getting what it is that you want. And that was me a while back. While I was still married, I had a lot of fears, anxiety. Like, you see all these stories where you hear first wives never enjoy life. First wives are left. If you've been married for 5-6 years, the man will probably cheat on you, or he will leave you, or he will do this and all that. And we carry a lot of that crap. So what does that happen? You start to blame everybody around you. And meanwhile, I had my own baggage I had to deal with. I had my own emotional pain that I never really dealt with before I got married. And that's why, honestly, sometimes I sit and I think, like, we need to bring back rites of passage. We need to bring back rites of passage. Because, let me tell you, and that's why sometimes I don't even, teach dating. Because, to be honest, it's not that difficult to get married. It's not that difficult to get married. If you decide you're ready to get married, all you have to do is have a social life. Learn how to flirt. You will have men. But where the rubber meets the road is when you are now in that relationship. And that's why so many women are frustrated, because you thought you could wing it. You can't wing marriage. I learned it the hard way. Yes, I'm winning right now, and I am winning. But it took a completely different version of myself. One, I had to realize, you know what, Linda? There's a lot of insecurities that you've had in your past. The way I was thinking about love, the way I was thinking about my relationship, I was not going to stay married for another 30-40 years, because it was filled with a lot of fear, a lot of mistrust. Imagine every day waking up thinking, oh my goodness, like your marriage can break. And you feel like you have no options outside. So what do? A lot of women sit with this emotional pain. So they're just sitting in their relationships filled with doubt, filled with fear. They just feel like, oh my goodness, I'm losing myself. But they don't realize even whatever is showing up in their relationship. If your man is disconnecting from you, what does disconnecting from you? Maybe he starts spending a lot of time, he's overworking. He's spending a lot of time with the boys. If he comes home, you are really not connected. It's so easy for you to sit and point the finger at him. But then my question to you, if you're in this life right now, you two have a role to play in that relationship. It takes two. Even if it's an unhealthy, toxic dance, maybe because that's the kind of relationship you saw up, you probably grow up seeing your mom yelling, screaming, and shouting. So you probably hated that thing, but then guess what happens? You come into the relationship. Who is the one who is yelling, shouting? You. Because we only behave the way we know how to behave. And until you decide, you know what? Things are not working. And there are two types of women. And I see them. Anytime I create a post, I see the women who can win, and I see the women who will just continue in that struggle cycle of unhealthy love. The women who can win are the ones who are there asking me, Linda, how did you do this? How can I start to shift? What do you know? They sign up for my programs, maybe ask me questions in the DMs, and they truly want to become better. The women who lose are the ones who sit and say, oh, well, why can't you go and tell the men? I'm like, tell the men what? You yourself, have you upgraded yourself? What kind of woman are you becoming? Are you working on yourself? The work that I did was first of all for me. I knew the kind of relationship I wanted. I am a wealthy wife. Yeah? So I had to ask myself, what does a wealthy wife look like? Not just a wealthy wife, a wealthy, happy wife. That was my vision for my life. How does a wealthy, happy wife think about herself? Does she truly love herself? And this self-love is not just this kind of love where you will wear nice clothes and then maybe if your husband doesn't tell you you're looking hot, you start to crumble. This is the kind of love where you stand up and look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh my goodness, I truly love my body. Even if you've given birth and you have some bumps, you're like, you know what? I love my tummy. It carried life and it brought forward life. Do you really truly love yourself? Over and above how your man is treating you. Because guess what? How your man is treating you is also a reflection of how much you love yourself. Because you can be in a disconnected relationship. But if you love yourself, you'll be like, no, there's something I don't know. This thing is not making me happy. I really do not want to be a part of this cycle. What can I do? How can I get support? That is self-love. But if you don't love yourself, guess what you will do? You will continue to sit in that relationship. Probably you start over drinking 2-3 bottles of wine. I've done all that. Every Friday night, guess what starts to happen? You start to pack on more kgs, yeah? Because you're drinking and you're eating. You're drinking, you're eating. Your skin is becoming dried out. You're putting on the pounds. You stand in front of the mirror 3 months later. You're like 10 kgs heavier. You wake up tired. You can't even work out. On top of that, you have a stressful job. So you hate your job, you hate your relationship, you're overeating, you're overdrinking. Guess what? The cycle of self-loathing continues and it's a downward spiral. And it's until you decide, you know what, you want more, that you're like, you know what, no. Let me put this bottle down. Let me stop over shopping on Amazon because clearly I'm just blowing money. Let me take a moment and look at myself, really. How did I end up here? Then from there, you start to work on yourself. That's how you start to shift from this woman who's losing, who is in her victim mindset, who's always blaming people. You're blaming your man, you're blaming your government, you're blaming your boss, you're blaming everybody for everything that's going on in your life. And you decide, know what? No. Let me work on myself. So that's the first thing. Second thing, you have to get the right relationship skills. Yes, you can start to love yourself. You can start to work on your, insecurities. Maybe you can start to let go of all the negativity that you had around men and relationships. The second thing, you actually have to, it's like you've detoxed from all that negativity. Then you start building back on the right relationship skills. Relationships are a skill. And in fact, the other day I was wondering, I'm like, it took me so long. I used to, back then when I was working, I placed a lot of attention on my job. Yeah, winning in my career, that was number one. My finances, that was number two. I put everything else, my son, everybody else was on top of what? My relationship. So even if I never really invested that much time to learn any new skills, guess what? Why? Because I assumed, oh, see, I'm married. Okay, fine, yeah. You winging it. So that's the second thing. Relationships are a dance. And you can't wing it. There's science behind what I talk about. It is an art and a science at the same way. And what I mostly talk about is how to lead with your femininity. And femininity is who you are as a woman. It's an art. You were born a woman. We were all born girls. But somewhere along the line, we forgot we were girls. And it is a skill. And the third step is to be able to learn how to speak up what it is that you want. Speaking up your truth. Speaking up your truth. You know, I see a lot of very angry women who type their comments and I'm like, this babe, I can promise you, she probably has never even fully expressed herself. She's been shouting all her life. She thinks she has been talking, but nothing she has said to her man has ever landed. Like, this guy has never really understood what you're talking about. And it's true, because there is a way to communicate how, in such a way your man feels you. Because what tends to happen is, it's so easy for us as women to go into masculine energy mode, where you want to argue. Oh, you came home at 4. Oh, okay. Why did you come home at 4? You want to start arguing. You want to become the detective. You're like, last week you came home at 4. The other week you came home at 6. The other week you came home at 5. You're stating facts. So what is this guy gonna do? He's like, oh yeah, I did. I'm sorry. He's already closed the conversation. I am sorry. Guess what will happen the next weekend? He will still come home at 4. Why? Because you're stuck in a cycle. He knows you don't love yourself. He knows you're able to take all these things. Even if you pack up your bags, you come and go, there's really nothing that's gonna happen. Guess what? Why? Because there is a way you can use your femininity to influence and communicate. And this is the thing, romance works very differently from all kinds of friendships. With your girls, you can sit and have emotional conversations all through, where you just go round in circles, and you understand each other. At work, you can go and reason. But when it comes to romance, you cannot sit and reason, because it's a very different space. So basically, to get what you want, and these are the things, I've been going through the 6-week Fix Your Marriage with Femininity training, and it's amazing. The live course it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Some ladies are telling me, Linda, I thought I was about to break up with this guy. Guess what? My car broke down, and for the first time, he actually offered to come and pick my car, to pick the wife, first of all, to pick her from work, take the car to be fixed, and then drop her the following day and pick her up. Now, if you're married and you are in this difficult phase, where even sometimes your man does not even say hi to you, you know what it means for your man to actually be concerned and come and look out for you, to do things for you. And that is because many times we sit in relationships as women, we technically become like the second man without realizing. So the 6-week live class is actually mind-blowing. I'm even having some private clients who signed up. Their husbands are now actually taking them on dates. Like one of my clients, she came to me a few weeks ago and she's like, Linda, I don't know if I'm going to survive 2023 as a married woman. The husband has brought back weekly date nights. That's why I say there is so much we think we know, but when you are in a relationship and you see there's some certain kind of treatment that's coming through, that is usually your sign for you to stop pretending everything is okay. So if you want to get what you want from your man, first of all, love yourself. Loving yourself means having the right kind of outlook. Generally, you having the right kind of vibe within yourself. Letting go of all this toxic negativity, mess, insecure self that has been the old version of you. The second thing is learning how to actually be in healthy romantic relationships. Relationships are a skill. The third step, having the ability to actually communicate what it is that you want. And it's not the way you're doing it. You cannot go and start reasoning with a man and thinking you want to have a logical conversation. It won't work. Many of us have been there. I was once there. I would have the same conversations over and over again. And in fact, the other day I was sitting and I was thinking, oh my goodness, we are like 8 months. It's been 8 months since we came back together. Time flies. Time really does fly. And I'm thinking 8 whole months. And I'm like, what? I didn't even notice it's been that long. It seems like just the other day, like we were almost breaking up and now we are here back together. We've upgraded our home. There's so much stuff that's going on. And I think to me, this has been one of the most life-changing moments of my life. Just having to navigate the whole separation and coming back together. But the only way you can win, the only way you can learn and grow is if you actually take the time to learn the right kind of skills. So ladies, I think for me, it's really about time, like as women, because sometimes we don't realize just how much influence we have. The feminine has a lot of influence, but it's not in the way you're doing it. It's not in you going to be like a second-class man. And that's where so many women are going wrong. And you see, nobody will teach you this. Nobody will teach you all this information. And I guess that's why when I started talking about relationships this way, it sounded different because I looked around and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at all these other people talking about marriages and it's all from a very godly perspective. I'm like, okay, yes, I love God, I'm spiritual, but I'm like, no, I don't need to submit more. I just need to know how to speak to my man. I just need to know how to carry myself in the relationship without becoming a doormat. Because this other kind of doormat energy, I was seeing a lot of these marriage coaches talking about. I was like, no, that's not gonna work. Because naturally, as women, once you could have been the craziest woman when you were single. But once you settle down and get married, most of us honestly want happy homes. I'm yet to see any wife who, and even the ones who cheat, because I speak with a lot of their wives who cheat because they feel so frustrated. But deep down they come and they tell me, Linda, I just want my family to be happy. Once you're a wife, generally you want a happy home. That's why I used to sit and I listen to all these marriage coaches. They're saying, oh, be more submissive. I'm like, okay, submissive in what context? I was not really getting like, what do I need to do to fix my relationship? So when they talk about being more submissive, I'm like, okay. So I wait for him to come home. Okay, then I serve. then I cook. I'm already doing that. I've been doing that for like 8-9 years. Not even me, but I had support and I was making sure that's being done. But why was I still feeling like the relationship was fading? And it was until I learned that there are some relationship skills that I didn't know. Until I learned that I was leading a lot with the masculine. Because trust you me, even some of these things you're doing that you're thinking is you're being nurturing and caring, making sure his clothes are fine, putting food on the table, a lot of that stuff is very heavy masculine energy. And nobody will tell you. But you will see what will start to happen is so many wives are feeling so resentful because they're like, but I make sure the home is okay. I make sure everything is fine. But still, he'll come home at 6. Yes, there's a reason why. You're doing too much. You don't have to do too much. You just need to know what to do and when. So if you're interested in working with me, please feel free to send me a DM. DM Trophy Wife. I do have some slots. Actually, what is it? One. Yeah, I think I have a slot available for private tutoring. Feel free to DM me. Let's see if we are a good fit. I'll ask you a few questions because there are some certain relationships that absolutely cannot be. I would not even want to think about reconnecting such relationships. If you're with an alcoholic husband, or he has some addiction, or he beats you, those are not the kinds of relationships I work with. Those are toxic. Those are unhealthy. If anything, you should be getting out of those and seeking help with mental health experts. The relationships I work with are the relationships where you started like you are his baby, like he used to do everything with you. Then all of a sudden you started having the same arguments over and over again. Like all of a sudden romance was dead. Like you never go out on romantic dates. All your conversations were around bills, logistics, errands, nothing intimate. Those are the kind of relationships that I can help you turn around. Same way we've been able to get back our relationship. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions, any comments. Feel free to DM me and enjoy your Saturday. Bye.